Alright, what are we doing here?
You seem so excited.
I'm thrilled. Woke up today, so I can't wait to get behind a microphone.
Create some content.
Create some content. 2022.
Okay, so this is 2020 in review.
2021.
20. Oh shoot!
It's 2021.
It's 2020.
Yeah, this is 2021 in review, and a look forward into 2022.
Yeah.
So maybe we can start with some of the highlights from this past year. Starting with, well, I don't know. What do you guys want to start with? We purchased a trailer.
It's a big highlight.
Yeah, that's a big highlight. So as of early January 9th is today. We should have that up and going within a week or two. What's the vision with the trailer once it's complete? Neither one of you guys can take that.
Mobile cafe.
Mobile cafe.
Yeah.
Do you have a sound mixer? Like, bow, bow, bow. Like radio?
Yes.
Do, 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 do.
So we got the trailer. Yeah, okay. So maybe we can talk about what appealed to us about the trailer, just briefly. So we were looking around. We looked at everything from horse trailers to box trucks to all-in-one vehicles,
Retro campers
that we were gonna have to outfit.
Too bad these guys are too tall.
Yeah.
For retro
Yeah,
campers.
we kept running into an issue where we didn't have enough headspace, or I didn't have enough headspace. So we ended up going, when the one that we ended up purchasing popped up, it was pretty exciting because we have this vision of being able to offer walk-up service as well as drive-through service, perhaps even simultaneously. And so when we saw this, it was basically a utility trailer. It appealed to us because we can kind of do both. It has the concession window as well as the drive-through trailer, or the drive-through window rather. And so the plan is to make it pretty modular so that we can be super adaptable depending on where we are.
Yeah.
So we decided to make an espresso cart, which is pretty sick because we were able to build that custom. We had Steve help us with the welding, and so the thought is that we can be pretty nimble and move our entire setup around depending on whether we're at a venue, in a parking lot, and make it really a mobile cafe experience.
Yeah,
so rather than, the thought was, we don't like it when you walk up to a van or something and you're like looking straight up. They're looking out of this tiny little window. You can't really see what's going on inside. We want it to be a lot more open and inviting, kind of like a cafe when you walk up and there's the counter there. If you want to, you can interact with the barista perhaps. You can kind of see what they're doing. So that was the thought with this trailer, is that it's very open. Pretty much as open as a trailer can possibly be.
Yeah.
When all of the windows are open. So anyways, doing that it's been a lot. We basically gutted the entire thing. So it took maybe a little bit longer than we were expecting. So we just have to finish putting up the walls. And so our thought is that that'll be up soon, and we'll be able to take that to the farmer's market, hopefully. And then we'll also be able to really set up anywhere. I think our focus will probably be more on the West End, like the short pump area. But we're really excited about that because, that's gonna, quintuple the amount of exposure that we're able to get with everybody, which is something that we're really excited about.
Yeah.
Is getting FaceTime with people, getting coffee and drinks into people's hands. And there's definitely a shortage of non-corporate coffee options in this side of town. So that's something that we're really excited about, being able to offer people an alternative, because right now there really aren't too many alternatives, if any alternatives. As far as, I don't know, maybe you can talk about the roaster. We purchased a roaster mid to early last year. In March, I think, is when we were up and running with that. What's your experience been like with that coming from the Be More?
Yeah, so the Be More, Man, that thing is getting a little dusty now. I don't even touch it anymore because this new roaster that we've been working with is just so capable, and there's still a lot more headroom to grow. You know, the B-more, which is like probably I'd say like the best you can do for a home roaster, largest capacity for a home roaster at 1 pound max, you know, and it'll yield you a 12-ounce bag. So that easily was like, no, way too small. So this roaster, the air roaster, it's got a 10-pound capacity, anywhere from 2 to 10 pounds. And we've kind of been learning its little quirks and features. Shout out to Doug DeMuro.
Right.
That's his last name, right?
Yes.
Anyways, we've been working with it, and just learning how it takes heat on with different kinds of beans. So far, we've found like 2 or 3 profiles that are like really good, that kind of allow the beans to speak for themselves, whether it's a South American or an African bean, or even taking a little bit darker like our Cornerstone blend for that bolder taste, yet still barely touching second crack, you know. That oily coffee, it's not shining, but it's got little drops here and there, but that allows it to spit through or to shine through the our milk-based drinks for our espresso setup. The roaster's been very consistent, even working on it from like 98 degree temperatures to below freezing. I mean, it takes time to warm up, but when it's running and you're going, it's definitely holding up as a commercial machine. And I think Coffee Crafters has done a great job with this setup.
Yeah, I think we noticed that at the outset, how even the roast was.
Yeah, and I'm kind of excited to see what they will do. I think we heard from Ken, the owner of Coffee Crafters, that they are in the works of an even larger capacity commercial machine. Right now, this 10-pounder is about the max that they have, but apparently they're working on something behind the scenes. So.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe you can, Jimmy, if you want to touch on the coffees that we've been through this year, kind of our evolution in terms of the coffees that we've had, what we've liked, our blends, the evolution of Cornerstone, and then what we're looking to do early 2022.
Yeah. What have we had? I think one of the first things that we were doing was, we bought from, who's the guy in Harrisonburg?
Phil.
Is that Harrisonburg?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we bought from Phil, and Phil finally said that we're going to outgrow him, or he said he wants us to outgrow him, right? Because we're trying to procure from an actual, distribution channel that can meet our growing demands.
Yeah.
So what was the last thing we bought from Phil? We bought Kenya from Phil. We bought Guatemala from Phil.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We
Colombia,
bought
Tolima.
Colombia Tolima. I forgot about Colombia Tolima. That's right.
Our OG Colombia.
Yeah, because that was when we were comparing it with the other company that's got a bird that's red. Right?
Oh, yeah.
They have a Colombia Tolima as well, and ours was, of course, amazing. I forgot about that. That's right. That's a throwback. Colombia Tolima.
Yes.
So we took that drive. I remember taking that drive in the snow to Harrisonburg.
Yeah.
And that was actually I only lived here like 2 months, maybe.
Yeah.
Not too long. So it was kind of cool to see that part of Virginia. And then I remember we were toying with the idea. We had the Zoom call with him of like, what can we do? And he was talking about his partner that, hey, you have a dock, and if you bring the forklift and he'll load it in your truck. And I don't know, it just seemed like we'll be going to some dock at night and some guy was off throwing coffee onto a boat onto our truck. So
yeah,
I don't know, it seemed kind of shady. Not shady, but just like, how is that sustainable? How are we going to do that all the time?
Yeah, where are we going to get a loading dock?
Yeah, where are we going to get a loading dock? Exactly.
Because he was saying, you're going to have to, they charge you to lower the lift gate on the truck. We're like, shoot, we got to find some place with a loading dock.
Right.
But we ordered anyways.
Yes. So we're like, okay, let's just do it because we need it. And then we drove up there and we remember loading the boxes into the truck. Took like a detour trip home. That was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just go through the winter wonderland that is Western Virginia. How do we stumble across? He bought from Royal. Is that how we got Royal?
Right.
Yeah, he bought from Royal, and we're like, okay, that seems to be legitimate. I mean, it's been interesting. Every aspect of this company has been evolving into, you don't know what you don't even know. Right. You know, like, okay, well, how does coffee get here? it seems like an afterthought once you're drinking it, but you don't realize how much goes into getting coffee into the United States. Anyways, long story short, getting in touch with Royal, we got hooked up with a pretty good rep. That was nice enough to, even though we're a small, tiny roaster, they're nice enough to kind of give us the time of day and explain things to us. Because early on, when we were trying to do things, remember, like, well, unless you buy 10,000 units, like, don't even talk to us.
Yeah, packaging,
right?
Pretty much everywhere you go.
Every little thing, they're just like, you guys, once you're a big company or producing enough, nobody gave us a time of day. So it was nice to see this importer, knowing that we're going to do, to their standards, probably a tiny little order, gave us, some good recommendations. So we ended up buying coffee from them. And it's been nice. I think we've hit a stride with our roasting. The number one seller is a Cornerstone blends, which I don't think any of us saw coming. Like Bali seemed to be the winner, but Cornerstone just kind of that. I think that last change.
Yeah, maybe you can talk on that. What was behind the change? Because originally, whenever people said we like dark roast,
right?
We pointed them to Cornerstone, right? Because that was the darkest that we had, but in actuality, you can't even really call that a dark roast.
No.
It's more of a medium.
Right.
And so there were friends among us, I mean, two people that come to mind instantly where they're like, we want to support you, but I just like dark coffee.
Right.
I just do. That's what I'm interested in. And Cornerstone, it just wasn't quite dark enough for them. Right. But we wanted to reach those people.
Yeah.
We try to show them the error in their ways. I'm just kidding. It's just dark coffee is, again, whatever kind of coffee you enjoy. But for us, we're trying to really, accentuate some of the individual notes, which could still be done with dark, and we realized that with Cornerstone.
Yeah.
We took it dark, but would you say that if you held it up to most, even, let's not say second wave, third wave coffee roasters, would you still consider our Cornerstone really that dark?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Even the second iteration of it. Mm-hmm. So we ended up going darker to it. What was our first, what is the temperature we go to now?
The temperature I bring the beans to is about 455.
Okay.
55 degrees. Prior, I would just take it to about 435. And so what this allowed, going the extra 20 degrees, allowed the bean to develop a little more and still touch that second crack, which we weren't even doing before.
Yeah.
And that allows the caramelization of the bean, but without breaking it down, and then you're getting like carbon flavors.
Yeah. So, I'm even looking at a picture right now between the difference, and it's the difference in the picture looks drastic, but when you look at that dark compared to even what's considered dark, it's not close.
Yeah, and there were two main considerations I would say for us. Number one is when we're selling whole beans to people, making sure that we had an offer in our lineup that they would be happy with brewing for themselves at home. But the other consideration for us was that we were making this change right around the same time as we purchased our espresso machine.
Right.
Yep.
And so we wanted to make sure that as we're taking this darker, do we still like this as espresso? Right? Is it still putting the best foot forward of the beans that we have?
Yeah.
Because initially, our espresso blend, you would call it was chocolate dipped, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's a throwback.
Cherry House.
Yeah. So the thought being that it had kind of it had that berry flavor, but it had the chocolatiness. But when we take it darker, are we going to lose some of that berry? Is it going to become a little bit more one note? Is it just going to be dark?
Right.
And so we did a comparison, and the conclusion that we came to was that it still has a lot to offer as espresso, but it has that good dark flavor because now we've been incorporating that not just into the classic lineup of drinks, latte, cappuccino, etc., but also our seasonal drinks right now. Yeah. So having something that could stand up well to a lot of additional flavoring, and that's been really exciting. It's been really, really tasty to pair it with all of the seasonal drinks that we've had for the fall and winter season. So I think it's been a success, and I feel really excited and confident about it going forward as kind of I think your espresso blend for a lot of roasters is kind of the main pillar of your business, right? Especially if you have a cafe operation, that's probably what you're going to be using the most of.
That's right.
For cafe operation, it's going to be your mainstay. I'm excited to also offer single origin espresso for enthusiasts.
Yes.
I know we find ourselves going to cafes, and if they have a single origin espresso, we're always down to try it. Right. So that'll be interesting as we evolve. again, it's like you don't know what you don't know, is realizing like how finicky it is to dial in espresso. So then once you do, you're like, well, I'm not messing with that grinder to then put in a different kind of bean in there.
Right.
So to buy a secondary grinder and then dial that in, I don't know. There's a lot of like hoops to jump through, but to offer a cool, like Bali shots, for example.
Bali shots.
Bali espresso shots were I would have never thought. Well, first, never thought Bali to begin with as a great single origin, and it has been. And then let alone as an espresso shot, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm excited for this year to have the mobile cafe on wheels and try all of those kind of iterations of single origin shots.
Yeah, I want to get in an African shot one of these days.
Yeah.
You know, lighter roast, but yeah, super dialed in African shot.
Like a Kenya shot. What do you think that would be, like a condensed, grapefruit. I don't know, like a grapefruit shot? Yeah. I don't know. That'd be
shot
crazy.
Of some sort of grapefruit tea.
Yeah, like, but you know, would you say over extract, or when you put too much tea, it's just like,
yeah, it's intense.
Punches you in the face.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that.
It's almost like an extract.
Extract, yeah, exactly. A Kenya extract. Yeah. I don't know, so Bali was good as a single origin choice. That's our second best seller.
Right.
That we have as a single origin. And I don't know, it kind of leads us into what we're excited about this year for our new lineup of beans. Again, everything being cyclical with the seasonality of coffee. You know, we're like, oh, when is Kenya going to come back? When is Guatemala going to come back? But you also want to try new things. So it's that balance line of we know what we like, why not get it? But also there's so much out there.
Yeah, it's like you're revisiting old friends, but you also want to meet new friends.
Right.
And it can be that way because you have certain farms, certain origins that you fall in love with. But at the same time, you want to keep it exciting.
Right.
You know, both for us and for everybody that is kind enough to support us. You know, we want to keep it exciting for everyone to expand our palates, expand their palates. Well, one thing that we were really excited about going into this year was we finally got a decaf that we really like.
That's true.
Is very hard to do.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you're not only choosing the origin, like the farm.
Right.
You start with the underlying bean, but then there's also the process on top of that to decaffeinate it.
Yeah.
And that can kind of make or break the bean. You know, even if it was good pre the decaffeination process, that can kind of wreck it, and you end up with something that's very flat.
Right.
Has a certain chemically taste to it, which really kind of ruins it. So we ended up with a Mexico Chiapas, which I know is one of your more favored origins. Mm-hmm. And so we ordered a whole, 40 kilo bag of it, and we've been really enjoying it. We were really excited that we actually have a decaf that we enjoy drinking even without, or especially without milk.
There are times between choosing what to drink, like I would just drink the decaf. If it wasn't for the caffeine, right? It's like in the morning, like because it's decaf, by default I need to do this other coffee. But that's at least how good it was standing up to other single origins as a heavy hitter. Right. And you're right. You don't have that chemically taste to it. It doesn't have that flat muted taste to it. It's pretty evolved. Yeah. So I'm excited for people to try it. I mean, I think it's gonna. You get a lot. I don't know. In my experience, when you ask people, you know, do you want decaf, and they're just kind of, oh, well, why is that even a thing? Like, who drinks decaf coffee?
What's the point?
Right. What's the point? Right. I drink coffee not because it tastes good, because it's caffeinated. Right. To realize, like, no, you get a great tasting cup of coffee. That's also not going to keep you up till 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And we love pairing it with, there's so many times when after dinner you have a dessert and you're like, oh, this brownie or this cake or whatever it is, I wish I could have coffee, but it's just too late.
Right.
Boom, in steps decaf. It's the perfect time to be able to enjoy the experience without the limitations.
Right. Yeah.
So super excited that actually turned out, because I have had a number of decafs that I was very underwhelmed with. They're just not pleasant to drink.
Right.
Yeah, dude, I'd buy a bag and like just have to give it away. I just couldn't finish it.
Well, even making the decision to buy the bag, you're just kind of like, do I really want to buy this?
Yeah.
You know, like, is it going to be that good? And if it's not, and they're usually more expensive because of the process they have to go through. Right. Let alone a single origin decaf. Most of the time they're farmhouse blends. Just thrown together decaf, Swiss water. Yeah.
Right. We've got a single origin Swiss water process Mexican Chiapas.
Organic.
That's organic.
Yeah.
It's killing it.
Yeah. Speaking of organic, that's one of the things we want to lean into more probably this year, right? Not, you know, that we didn't do this already, but we never really advertised it as such. But all of us, I think, we like, I don't know, making sure we buy good foods and eat good things and things like that. And I think
sure.
also with our coffee, we've made a selection of organic coffees that, again, not just buying it because it says it's organic. We want to make sure it's good, but if we can, why not? And even all of our drinks, like our organic whole milk, organic oat milk, most of our drinks are organic cane sugar based. If you are going to do like the ginger snap and seasonal drinks,
Yeah.
so yeah, just even educating the consumer that you don't have to buy this synthetic chemical induced sweet latte. I don't know. When you hear like coconut caramel latte, for example, which is one of our seasonal drinks, what would you think of? Not knowing us.
Yeah, I mean, it's like maybe a coconut extract or something.
Yeah.
Something that's very intensely coconutty.
Right.
That just overwhelms every other flavor and then super, super sweet.
Yeah.
Definitely would be part
Right,
of it.
super sweet. Or like peppermint mocha, right? You
Yeah.
just think like just a synthetic.
Yeah.
Right, so all the drinks that we've been doing, it's been cool because we've been getting it as natural as possible, like actual actual peppermints, creating the ginger kind of snap of it,
Right.
reducing down the different herbs and spices, and then again organic cane sugar as a base. So I don't know, I think that's what I want to make more people aware of.
Yeah.
Is you don't, the frou-frou drinks as they're called,
Mm-hmm.
like you could do that tastefully, and you could do that with really good pure ingredients. And I think that's something we're going to lead into more probably, especially as we come up with our spring and summer
Yeah.
espresso based lineup.
Yes.
Excited for like iced drinks and iced espresso.
Yep.
I think one that we're considering or playing is with the honey lavender. A lot of times lavender can be done because it's synthetic and you just instantly tasting like this isn't good. Or honey, you look at the ingredients and there's not actual honey. It's just fake, fake honey.
That's a thing?
Yeah, that's an actual thing.
Honey flavoring.
Well, like this, not to get too much saturated, like root beer or no, ginger
Ginger beer?
ginger ale or things like that.
Ginger ale?
Like there's no ginger in any of those. Like
Right.
I don't know how many times you get those kind of things.
How
There's
is that
no-
possible?
Right, how is that possible? So same thing with like even honey flavoring.
Oh,
It's like not actual honey.
Right.
So having something that's done tastefully with the pure good ingredients and not costing an arm and a leg. We talked about the company Salad & Go from
Yep.
Arizona.
Yep.
Just dialing down their entire process that they're able to offer really good quality salads, good quality meat, and they're extremely affordable. Same thing with us. Like I don't see why it has to be a $7 latte
Right.
for synthetic sugar when we could do a $3, $4 latte for really good, sourced ingredients.
Right. Just by remaining true to the components of the whole experience that are essential
Right.
and getting rid of everything else that kind of adds bloat onto the experience. Right.
Right.
It's all
Yeah.
about providing value to people. And part of value is not just price, it's also the quality with that price.
Right.
It's not a matter of slashing prices just to get it as cheap as possible. It's finding that perfect balance between really high quality without the really high prices that are normally associated with that quality.
Right.
So that's something that we're always considering in the coffees that we buy and
Yeah.
even with the trailer.
Right.
How can we offer a great experience but not have to pass on a lot of expense onto our customers? Because that's something that we appreciate.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was even one of the launching points of this company was like, how come there's no good quality, affordable coffee?
Yeah.
That's you feel like you're paying $20 or 12-ounce bags, $25 or 12-ounce bags, and there are times that it's warranted based on the kind of bean they're getting. There's definitely specialty micro batch farms, but for the most part, you could get, as we're trying to showcase, great coffee for not breaking the bank.
Right.
Like, would you be regularly spending $20, $25 a week on coffee?
No.
A lot of
why I
people do,
started
and it's
roasting.
sad. Yeah, right. It's like might as well buy a roaster, right?
Right.
At that point, you can figure it out how to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's been a big learning for us, or at least for me, I'll speak for myself, is that, quality is really just an accumulation of the little details. Whether
Yeah.
it's the coffee itself or it's the drinks. You don't roast coffee into being good.
Right.
Right. Like the underlying bean has to be
Oh, for
high
sure.
quality.
Right.
And really you're just allowing the bean to express what it really is.
Yeah.
So if it's not there, you're not going to taste it. And it's absolutely the same thing when we're making drinks at the
Yeah.
espresso bar. If you don't have high quality ingredients, there's no way that it's going to taste high quality.
Right.
So yeah, what would you say that we have in store for the upcoming year in terms of quality? What are you guys looking forward to? And how, maybe we can talk a little bit briefly about how our coffee procurement is, how we're going to improve that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the things that we have issues running into is guessing how good the coffee that we're going to buy based on what its descriptions are.
Right.
Because even when you get the samples, yeah, they roast it a little bit more darker than we want. A couple of times, I don't know, you got kind of a stale taste.
Right, because they're, just to clarify,
Right.
instead of sending the green beans,
Right.
they send you already roasted versions of that. So you're not able to taste the bean as you would roast it.
Right.
You're tasting it as they're roasting it, and you're getting it from whenever they happen to roast it. That could be a month and a half ago.
Right.
I don't know.
Or you get the green beans and it's, I forgot what the quantity is.
It's very small.
It's sub a pound, I think.
Yeah.
Right? And minimum requirement for our roaster and most commercial roasters. Effectively, we probably have one of the smallest requirements
Right.
of a large scale roaster.
Right.
2 pounds. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the other ones are much higher. Anyway, so we can't even get the green beans. So something that we'll probably do is buy kind of a mini version of our air roaster, right? That can measure temperature, because that's a big thing, time and temperature, how quickly the bean gets to a certain degree level. So to be able to dial in instead of just, I mean, even the experience we had right now, right? There are 2 single origins that we were excited by on paper, and then they just didn't really pass. What would you call it? The Parousia test, I guess. I mean,
No, it's the are we excited about this
Right.
test? That's
Right.
what I would call it. Like, can I recommend this to somebody enthusiastically? Oh, you got to try this.
Right.
It's so tasty. If we can't say that, then
Why
that's
are we
not something.
selling it?
Yeah, we
Right.
don't want to offer
Yeah.
that.
yeah, and we committed. I mean, we bought again these 2 giant bags of coffee.
Right.
So it's not going to be like, oh, let's just sell it because we bought it already. It's like, no, we want to make sure we put a product out there that, again, we enjoy to taste and we would drink it ourselves, daily habit. So we made it cool blends, right?
Yeah.
It's like a working name. There's no name yet, but I don't know,
Right.
kind of like a teaser a little bit, I guess, is pairing it with peanut butter and jelly.
Yes.
You know, would you ever think to have a spoonful of peanut butter and jelly and drink coffee?
No way, man.
Right?
Yeah.
No,
No,
I don't know.
no.
Right? It doesn't
No.
sound like something you would do on a regular. So it's a pretty cool blend of these 2 single origins that we're not necessarily sure they're going to stand up individually.
Right.
But when you combine them, it creates something that's really good and unique.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
They help each other stand, and they're both high quality beans.
Right.
Just in terms of the flavor, the fullness of flavor.
Right.
Didn't really stand up on their own. So what can we do with these?
Right.
You know, sometimes if you have 2 supporting ingredients or 3 supporting ingredients and you put them together, they're better almost than the sum of their parts.
Yeah.
And so we're really excited about the blend. It's and that's something that we want to lean into with all of our blends, maybe our single origins, is not just having notes as kind of these things that exist in the ether that
Right.
kind of get you maybe an accurate but
Yeah.
vague description, but actually having little things that you can try. So, you know, take like our now discontinued, at least temporary,
Yeah.
Los Hermanos blend,
Right.
having a pecan, brown sugar, and orange juice.
Yes.
Try those, and then have some Los Hermanos and watch as it totally just blends and becomes
Right.
a really unique flavor and all those just separate flavors are
Right.
indistinguishable. I mean, it's a crazy experience.
It's a palate symphony.
It's a palate symphony.
There you go.
Exactly.
I mean, it really is. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, these like orange juice and coffee. Again, you
Yeah.
almost think of it as like brushing your teeth and drinking orange juice.
Right.
Like, that's the kind of clash I thought of, at least.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I ever had breakfast and coffee with OJ that was served to me, I'd save OJ last after I've had coffee, then breakfast, then orange juice. But yeah, swishing them in my mouth together was like an enhancing experience for my taste buds.
Can we take a moment to realize, like, Christian's list of priorities is like not even food. It needs to be coffee first. Like, don't even. I don't want food. Coffee, breakfast.
Nothing else before coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Don't even. I don't care what you've made. Coffee, then food.
He has his coffee set up on his nightstand.
Yeah.
You know, somehow I can handle coffee on an empty stomach.
That's
For
awesome.
Some people they can't. But
Yeah.
I'm still doing it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so we want to do more of that
Right.
to take the notes and make them an actual thing,
Right.
right? Because it's fun, even if it's just an exercise to discover the coffee more deeply, not to sound too weird.
Yeah, very
but
meta.
even what would they pair well with?
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, it's not like every day I'm going to make this new blend and like, all right, get a spoon and sit there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just kind of a one-off thing, but it does give a unique experience of drinking that coffee. And I think it helps people. We've had this experience of trying to teach people how to taste coffees. A lot of times they'll be like, that's for you guys. I don't know. I don't have a refined palate. And they're
Right.
like, you guys are. It's like, no, you could learn this.
Yeah,
you
for
could,
sure.
And it's just simple trial and error. Like,
Right.
oh, bite an orange, taste this coffee, does it clash or does it melt? And then you'll know. That's where, when people are saying there's a citrusness to it. And then even more evolved, is it a grapefruit more? Is it more going to be a lemon, a lime, an orange? So it's a simple thing that everyone can learn to do.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking like, I don't have that palate, you could almost teach yourself and train. So having that unique experience, I think, will be cool for us. I don't know.
Yeah.
All of us to enjoy.
Yes. And a cool way to interact with everybody that's having our coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because that's a way that we can all be having the same experience together of the coffee, even in separate times and places and everything.
Yeah, sure.
So definitely something that I think will, in the near future, be accompanying the coffees on our website.
Right.
You know, and maybe, brief fun. I don't even want to say instructional.
Right.
It's more of an experience. It's
it is
fun.
an experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe you could remember Christian subscribe here. Just have Christian eating peanut butter and jelly. Coffee. What? It mixes well?
Hey, this new blend, I wouldn't mind having that with the PB&J sandwich every morning.
Yeah.
I'd pair them.
That would be pretty. I mean, your dad did that yesterday,
Yeah,
right?
he did.
That was pretty cool. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich and the name to be named blends.
Right.
Los Hermanos is on his way back though. I mean,
Yes.
as we're sitting here, Colombia Acevito's in stock.
Really?
Which is dope.
All right.
Because that's one of our favorites blends.
Yeah.
Morningstar is a staple, cornerstone of our espresso, but Los Hermanos kind of really excited all of us.
Yes.
And then a lot of our Colombian diehards, they really want Acevedo. In fact, I got an email from one of our customers. They got the Colombia honey, and they're like, yeah, but I really want Acevedo. So it's kind of cool. That's going to be something that we could get here shortly and have it back. And that means Los Hermanos will be coming back sooner than we expected.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It is exciting because I think that was just a really good daily driver blend.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is always exciting. It's fun to try the things that are a little bit on the farther outer reaches in terms of flavor and uniqueness.
Right.
But as a daily coffee drinker, I appreciate something that I can enjoy.
For sure.
Yeah.
For a whole, if you're buying a pound of coffee, you want something that you can enjoy for, depending on how many people are drinking it with you, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row.
Absolutely.
So, and Los Hermanos was definitely that.
So Kenya on the horizon, Guatemala on the horizon. What are some of the throwbacks of beans that you would say, I want that back? Or what are we looking forward to next? I think, I don't know, for me at least, I've never taken a deep dive into all the different Asian varietals.
Right.
Bali's been one, but I know there's so much more. That'd be interesting to see what we could get out of those unique profiles.
Yeah.
Have you had a decent, besides Bali?
I've done a few Sumatras.
Okay.
I still think Bali had a little more on it.
Yeah.
And I've roasted Sumatra for people who did like my early days of Bali roasting, which is pretty similar now, but they said it was good, but they preferred the Bali.
Gotcha.
But there's also different kinds within, and then also other Indonesian coffees.
Yeah, there's like Burundi coffees. I'm just looking through your list of all the different Asian offerings. I mean, there's got to be something out there.
I think what we've discovered with Bali is that perhaps the stereotype that Indonesian coffees, due to the lower elevation,
Right.
Oh,
they
yeah.
lack complexity. That doesn't necessarily have to be true, because I do think that Bali actually is a pretty interesting coffee. I mean, I think it
for
has an
sure.
evolution even through as you let it cool, right? It starts out as one thing, and by the time it cools, you're having a whole nother flavor.
Yeah.
And
You
so
can't even describe it.
No,
Look
it's
at our
very
descriptions that we have. It's kind of like
we've called it foresty.
because like we even trying to figure out what it tastes like. It's
Yeah.
definitely unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been surprised, as we mentioned earlier,
Right.
at the response to it. Even just, I don't know if I should say in spite of the description, people really like Bali, man.
It's a cool name, Bali Blue Moon.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
Yeah.
that sounds like you're
gives you beach vibes.
Oh yeah, or like an LA noir detective. Like get Bali Blue Moon on the line. I don't know. It just sounds kind of it's interesting.
Right. So does lightning strike twice? That's what we want to find out with Indonesia.
We
Or
will.
with that whole region.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Papua New Guinea, Java, Sulawesi.
Yeah, I'm ready to try Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, Organic Timor.
In terms of to answer your question, on both sides of the spectrum,
Yeah.
I would say that the Guatemala that we had initially was so good. That peanut buttery
Yes.
ness, man, that was probably I think that was probably the best daily driver coffee that we've had.
Right.
It's really enjoyable every day.
Yeah.
But it just has that really delicious nuttiness that doesn't really get tiring
No.
very easily. In terms of the blow your mind how is this even coffee type of thing? I mean, I think we all agree it has to be Kenya, right? The Kenya pea berry that we had.
Yeah, for sure.
It even looks unique, like those tiny little pea berry.
Right.
You know, even it just looks different.
Yeah.
And the first time I had it, we were just talking about this. Christian brewed it. I think this is actually when you were still roasting the Beemore.
Beemore, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
outside of with the fan.
Yeah, fan cooling box.
Yeah.
On the back deck.
That was awesome. Those were the days.
It truly was handcrafted.
Yeah, absolutely. Handcrafted, hand cooled.
Yeah, I remember. Hand cooled. I mean, tasting that coffee, and then kind of forgetting about it as we were talking, and then just kind of 10, 15 minutes later,
right,
reaching out. Oh, I got a little coffee left in my cup. Taking a sip, and it's like. So it was like grapefruit,
right?
Crazy,
yeah. Like I thought I had coffee, not tea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, what am I? What am I even tasting right now?
Right.
Because this does not taste like any coffee that I've ever had.
Yeah.
And it's so far from the stereotype of what coffee flavor is.
Well, how many people do we try? I know my mom personally. I think your mom as well. How many people that said I don't like drinking coffee, and they had the Kenya, and they're like took a sip, and then it's like, oh okay, and they're like, oh, took a little sip, and then downing half a cup.
Right.
And they don't drink coffee. And this is a black cup of coffee, mind you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty unique.
Right.
So I'm excited for that to come back.
Same.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
There's Caribbean coffee. I mean, there's all sorts of coffees. We could have a whole podcast on just coffees.
Right.
But that's something that's exciting about, just the evolution of that. What else do we have coming on this year? Okay, it may not be this year, but we all have ambitions and a site for a cafe.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know, just throwing it out there, what do you see when you have the Parousia Cafe? What comes to mind?
Oh man!
Oh my gosh!
Possibilities are endless.
They really are.
Yeah.
Something that I see at least is I don't know, like a flagship location that could be kind of multi-purpose, like a headquarters, like a true HQ for training, for even a gathering space, for events, for even individual things that we all do. I mean, we all have different side things that we work on.
Right.
I mean, it could kind of be a multi-purposed area in addition to just being a cafe.
Yeah.
I like your idea, if you want to elaborate on that, kind of a trailer launching pad.
A launch point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just to preface it, we were kind of talking about what can we lean into that makes us unique, you know, both in terms of our interests and our skill sets, but also based on the experience that we've accumulated, right? Because our experience is similar in certain areas, but it's pretty unique in a lot of other areas. And so rather than just being another has-been, right? Because everybody likes the idea, which is really cool, of opening up a cafe, right? You ask somebody, oh, what do you want to do when you retire? Oh,
yeah.
what is your dream? Oh, it's to open up a bagel shop. Oh, it's to open up a coffee shop, right?
Cupcakes, coffee, bagels. Yeah.
Yes.
Just pull it.
Exactly. Yeah. But in terms of making a business that we can expand and continue to expand what we can offer to people, because that's really what this is about, right? We want this to be a full-time gig for all of us, but that's always in service to providing the best possible experience for the people that are buying our coffee. So I guess the idea that I had is, you know, how can we take these experiences and rather than going in a completely different direction, how can we lean even further into what we've already experienced, right? In terms of things that we've done, things that we've learned, because we've learned a lot. There have been a lot of things that we learned in the past year, actually less than a year, really.
Yeah.
Everything about the coffee business. And so will we end up doing this? I don't know, but the thought of perhaps having a headquarters where we can take our experience of building out this trailer and having multiple mobile cafes and having one area where we can build them and service them and
restock them, replenish them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And have that as a way to kind of go out in a really nimble, limit overhead, but be able to offer a really great coffee experience to the tons of areas surrounding that really don't have access to high quality coffee, and definitely not at what I would deem a reasonable price,
Yeah.
Something that I would be willing to maybe stop by and get multiple times a week,
right?
You know, we're not talking just special event. I bring my friend there, maybe a friend there 3 times a year, you know. But like you're on your way to work, this place is really great. I'll stop over and grab my morning drink. That type of experience.
You know, I was talking to this guy at the farmer's market just a few days ago, and it sounds like what they're doing up in the Northwest, the little coffee huts. This guy is from Anchorage, Alaska.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's like, you know, I don't know why they don't have it here, but and I was like, yeah, they have that in Seattle too, right? And he's like, yeah, they do. And his experience in Alaska was like there's like little coffee huts with the purpose of just serving good coffee in underserved areas and stuff. And it's not like it's not like a huge, you know, cafe gig going on, but it's like we have the headquarters and you dispatch to where you got to go and you serve those people.
Yeah.
And they're there to get it, drink and enjoy, and then it's all at a reasonable cost.
Right. So hopefully having, in a sense, the best of both worlds.
Right.
There is something that you can never replace about the cafe experience.
Right.
It's fun to have a place that is pleasant. It's a way to get out of the house.
Right.
You know, sometimes you don't want to be at your house and you don't want to be at work. Hence, that's where the whole third place, right?
Right.
That initially kind of kicked off this mainstream coffee culture, right? It was like that thought of the third place.
Right.
So a cafe done well can absolutely be that. And I think we want to have a place that's very, I don't know, obviously welcoming. I think everybody that runs a cafe would say that. But even in terms of the practical aspects, one thing that kind of bugs me is when cafes don't have easy parking or they don't have enough seating, right? And so it's kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to go because I don't even know if I'm going to be able to find a place to sit.
Right.
Or the parking is such a pain. So, you know, I'm always thinking, in a sense, I want a cafe that I like to be in. On the other hand, is it practical? Right. For me to just show up and not have to worry, am I going to be able to park? Am I going to be able to see? I can just go. And all of those considerations have been thought out. And I think part of that is just even how cafes are laid out. Right.
Pretty expansive, you know, again, multi-purpose use for the community, for our individual endeavors, again, even in basic the human sense, just like having a date, going out for a night. The cafes have so many unique things that could bring to the surrounding areas that we want to be able to create that. But at the same time, based on where we're located here in Central Virginia, there's a lot of underserved areas. There's a lot of more country, rural areas that they don't really have good coffee. And you think you're going to drive 45 minutes to a cafe for a date night? Probably not. But would you go stop by and get great coffee on your way to work, or just something to do? I think the trailer operation could really, launch that opportunity for a lot of folks.
Well, because it really is a win-win.
Right.
It's a win for the people that are living in those areas because they have ready access to it. It's a win for us because starting up, whether you're building a cafe or you're moving into a space, it's expensive. And so if you're only busy for 2 or 3 hours out of the day, it really is not that practical, right? And hence, that's why you typically have really expensive, well thought out cafes that are in more densely populated areas. Because you have to have that foot traffic in order to pay.
It's necessary
for your for all the overhead.
You need a minimum of like a couple hundred customers just to make rent for that, day, or if you broke it down in daily expense. Which a trailer you don't need. You could be as nimble as possible, in and out, hour service to people that go, and you're out. That's exciting. So I guess that's not necessarily a 2022 plan, but it's something that we're going to move forward with. It would be nice to see the possibility.
Something right now purview for sure.
Like our main trailer is going to be the number one thing, and then evolution into kind of that HQ location will be pretty cool for everyone.
Well, and the trailer will absolutely be it's kind of our incubator. It's it's what works, what doesn't work, what do people want, what are they not so interested in, and you never know where. You don't know what you don't know. Right. So being out there 5-6 days a week is where we're really going to get the reps in and see what people are interested in and where they're interested in.
Speaking of, so one of the main things we're going to communicate with our client, or I guess customers, would be where to find us. So we'll probably do that mostly on Instagram, our website. It would be nice to post regular locations, but at the same time go into unique different places, but give a heads up of where we're going to be, because I don't know, sometimes if you're in an office plaza all the time, again, it's just kind of like, well, if I had to fight traffic on Broad to get there, is it really worth it? But it would be nice to kind of pop off into Powhatan, just surrounding areas that are more rural, just not so much randomly. We'll strategize it and plan it and announce it, but bring that kind of experience. So, who knows? Weekly, we might be in different locations, might have a couple of mainstays, but also travel throughout this whole area. So.
And in closing, also related though, in terms of staying in contact, content, like what do we have planned, or even what is exciting for you guys when you think about it in terms of the possibility for, because that's a main pillar of this company, right?
Right.
Is not
Education.
just selling coffee, but yeah, really educating people and hopefully entertaining.
Yeah.
At the same time, right? We want this to be entertaining. So what type of content do you guys have any ideas that you're excited about?
I think one of them could be not that we do new brew guides, but I think as educators, we're also learning ourselves,
right?
Constantly trying to stay up to date. And I think one thing we've discovered since we did our first set of brew guides is this method called osmotic flow, which we have like really leaned in hard at the farmers market, telling people about it every single Saturday.
Right.
And I personally don't think we have too much content on it online, but it's kind of what we've been practicing, and I think all of us have stuck to that brew method, which is a certain way to make pour over, with adjusting a grind setting and all that. But anyways, I don't know. I think there's always ways to update what we're doing. Not to say the old way was bad, but we're constantly progressing,
right?
And
some of it is even shaving certain steps off that are not necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of times you think like, oh, I must do this. We experienced, you brought it up to me, of not rinsing, for example.
Oh yeah, you're rinsing your filter.
Yeah. And that was just one of the steps that I always did. And now I've been doing it for the past few months and I can't tell a difference now.
Yeah.
Just kind of even experimental things like that. It's true.
And I think a lot of this, if we're able to shave off and simplify, it makes the barrier for entry much lower.
Right.
A lot of people I have to rinse the filter. Like I barely have time to heat my kettle,
Right.
But you shave these steps off, your 15-minute brew method, from start to finish, you could shave it down to under 10 minutes.
Right.
For making a pour over, which in some cases could be faster than a drip machine.
Yeah.
It would be nice to expand the horizons of most consumers to realize you could get a much better quality than you're drinking right now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who've gone either the pod method or instant method, they have made great steps in all of those methods, by the way. I mean, there's different ways that they're a lot better than they were 10 years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think you're doing yourself a disservice of experiencing these different kind of levels of coffee. It's like, being gifted a top tier food quality or maybe a steak or whatever it may be. And it's easier to microwave that. And you're like, cook it, but at what cost, right?
Right.
Same exact thing with coffee. Not to sound overly snobby, but at the same time, it's just that basic education. We want to be able to teach people how do you drink coffee, and that's what works for you. Great. Try to do it the best way you can, but don't be afraid to try different methods. It's not, I don't know, there's an air of mysticism. Even when we're set up at the farmer's market, people come and they're like, oh, what is this? It's like we're almost doing this, alchemy kind of thing.
Yeah. We're doing pour over and they're like, well, I just want hot coffee. You're like, that's what this
exactly.
is.
This is hot coffee, right?
This is what is happening in your drip brewer.
Yes.
After you push start.
Right, exactly.
So we're doing it by hand.
Right.
It's still hot coffee though.
Yep. And it's much better than what's coming out of that
for sure.
drip brewer for sure. So I don't know, excited to challenge the norm and bring people into a better, unique experience as part of your morning routine, right? I mean, it's just, you start your day off with coffee. A lot of people do. And if you could be excited about that, as opposed to just push a button and kind of have this kind of cup, right?
Right.
It could be part of your, good routine for you to start your day off.
Yeah.
So excited about that concept, really, education.
I would say two other things that come to mind for me. We did originally have the idea for the How You Brewing series.
How You Brewing. That's
You
right.
Brewing.
I forgot about that. It's going to be Christian walk around going, how you brewing?
Oh, dude.
just a really fun way to showcase just normal people.
Yeah.
Right? Not like coffee experts or coffee snobs even. But it's just fun to be able to connect with people, have a conversation with them, and maybe just pick up a few details about their coffee experience.
Right.
Really just an excuse to connect with some of the people that are drinking Parousia coffee.
Yeah.
So that's one idea that we had last year that hopefully we can execute on this year. Mm-hmm. And this I think would require another idea that I think would require a little bit of work, but I think could be really fun, is perhaps going around and profiling other roasters and cafes.
Oh, yeah. Well, how we started.
Yeah.
That was fun. All those little trips we took.
Yeah, that's true. Up and down Virginia.
Yeah, it's kind of like we've learned. It's what's the quote that high tide raises all ships?
Yes.
So it's not like an us versus them mentality. It's like if we could all grow a consumer base with education, why not?
Right.
So showcasing other people who are doing it,
Yeah.
and what do we enjoy? If I'm in this part of town or this city, what would I drink?
Right.
So it'll be kind of cool to have that. Agreed.
Yeah, because you realize that everybody is doing something in their own little area for their community.
Right.
The point isn't for us to have to colonize every single other. No, it's great that everybody has options that are local to them.
True.
Sometimes you don't have that option.
Right.
So you have to buy coffee that is from, it could be across the country, it could be from another city, but the more local that you're able to make it, the more the quality is going to be better, but also you're able to make those really fun connections where you know the person that roasted your coffee.
Right.
So that's super rewarding. So yeah, I guess I would just end this with, what do you all want to see, right?
Yeah.
In terms of content, what would be entertaining for you? What would provide value for you? Because we're definitely open to ideas. And that's something that we want to lean into.
Absolutely.
And same goes for coffee.
Yeah. What kind of coffees you see out there?
Yeah.
I know it's you guys might get mad at me, but there is that frozen instant, and not that we would ever do it personally, but I'm so curious to try it.
Right.
Just what is that?
Right.
So I don't know if anybody who watches us or follow us or buys our coffee, you see something that's kind of unique. We're not opposed to anything.
Yeah.
We might not like it, but not opposed to trying it, right?
Right.
Who knows? It's a different process, different way of doing things. So, yeah.
I think that's all we have.
Yeah.
Right. I think that was a pretty good overview for where we've been in the last year and what we're excited about within the upcoming year. So if you've made it this far, then we hope to hear from you soon. Let us know what you want more of.
Awesome.
Nice.
Cool.
Signing off.
Good night and good luck.
Stay brewing.